Hello everyone and welcome to Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As we begin, two sincere favors I have for you. One, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And two, when you're shopping for motorcycle parts and gear, use my affiliate links and you can bookmark my link tree below. I really appreciate that. Helps keep this channel moving forward. All right, finally we are here. Many months, maybe even close to a year, since some parts of the world got this bike, where it's called the 450 MT, I finally have the CFMOTO Ibex 450. So here in the United States, they're calling it the Ibex and not the MT. Today's video is going to be a first ride impressions on and off road, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I have planned out for the series of videos on this bike. I want to start out by giving you some disclaimers about my relationship with this bike and with CFMOTO, because there's been some questions about that out there. I always pride myself on transparency. And I know what you're thinking. I'm about to say, oh yeah, I'm sponsored. This is a sponsored content, or CFMOTO is paying me. No, that is not the case. So the way I approach motorcycle reviews is as a journalist when I review motorcycles. Now, I do sponsor content on cameras and gear and accessories and luggage and all that. I do that to help support the channel. But when it comes to motorcycle reviews, I am incredibly particular that there never is any financial relationship between me and a motorcycle manufacturer. So what does that mean? It means that this is a press bike. A press bike means that CFMOTO, as all other motorcycle companies, have units that they lend out to journalists to review. There's no payment involved, and they don't control or tell us what to say. So I hope that is very clear. All right, so I think I know how I'm going to structure the series on this bike. It's such an important model for a lot of reasons that we're going to get into. This first video will be the first ride impressions. The second video, I think, will do the in-depth review where I tell you absolutely everything about this bike. The third video will be answering your questions, of which there are many. And the fourth and final video, I'm planning to do some sort of an expedition trip with this bike, hopefully maybe like a 3-day trip to really test its traveling and adventure capabilities. I have some goals with this video series. I've been doing this for a while, and I think I know a good way to do this. So my number one goal is I don't want to waste your time. I really don't. Number two is that I don't want to give you any bad or incomplete information. So conclusions and comparisons and definitive statements, I will do my absolute best to wait until I really know what I'm talking about or do the research. And third, I want to be sure that I answer all the questions and concerns you have about this particular model as I do this video series. All right, this is important. I want to talk about some initial setup I did. This is a very important review and I want to get it right. So some initial bike tuning that I did before I'm riding it at all. The first thing I did was tire pressures. CFMOTO specifies 32 front and 32 rear PSI. I went down to 28 front and 28 rear. I think that's a good compromise for on and off-road riding. We'll see how it feels. We can adjust accordingly. Suspension setup, extremely important when you're testing a bike. A lot of people fail to do this. The most important thing actually is to set the sag, the rear ride height of the rear shock. That affects the geometry of the suspension of how the bike is going to ride and handle. It affects it greatly. On most motorcycles, there's too much riding sag. When you sit on the bike with your riding gear and your luggage, it sags down too much. That interferes with optimal handling and performance. So I set up my sag gauge. I use a Moto Slacker digital sag gauge that I have. And I did have to adjust the preload on this bike to get the 30% recommended sag. It's a 200 millimeter travel bike. So the sag is about 60 millimeters, which is about 30%, which is what I'm looking for. With about 20 pounds of tools and this lightweight luggage here that I have, I did have to crank in preload. The preload adjustment, I'll talk about that in the in-depth review. It does use a collar. You'd have to use a tool. It is a little bit fiddly, and I really wish they had like a hydraulic or easier way to adjust that, but I did dial in that sag. It's very important. And then I also added about 2 turns of preload to the front forks to compensate sort of for that additional height that I gave it there. Suspension settings. So I went to the standard settings according to the manual. There's 20 clicks of compression and rebound on your damping settings, and I'm at 10 clicks on compression, rebound, damping, which is standard setting. The rear shock only has rebound damping, as far as I can see. It doesn't look like it has compression damping. So when I said it has full adjustability, I misspoke, and I'm sorry. The front forks are fully adjustable, preload, rebound, compression. The rear is preload and rebound only, as far as I can tell. Another important setup note that I did, and after talking to some of the owners of this bike, it's a cable throttle bike, and there was a lot of play in the throttle cable throttle assembly. A lot of owners have reported some jerky fueling. We'll see if that's the case, but I took the throttle slack out because in my experience testing other bikes, that's often the case. If you take some of that throttle slack out, you can reduce that jerky feeling. We'll see if that helps, but I wanted to do that as a point of initial setup. This is a first ride video, and we're not going in deep into all the specs, but a few things just so you have context as we're riding the bike today. Wet weight, fully fueled up with its 4.6 gallons or 17 liters of fuel is 432 pounds or 195 kilograms. People have criticized the weight. Why isn't it lighter? That's a good question. I'll talk about that in the other videos because there's reasons for that. She makes 43 horsepower. The seat height is very, very low. I think this is going to be a very popular option with shorter riders, 32.5 inches or 825 millimeters. There's also a suspension lowering option. You can actually move the shock mounting location. It gives you the adjustability built into the bike. You can lower the bike about 20 millimeters or 3/4 inches with the suspension link that's included. That's fantastic. Why don't more bikes have that option? Also, there is a tall rally seat, which I have available, which I'll probably use once I finish this first ride, which adds about 2 inches or about 50 millimeters. There's also a shorter seat as well. So they've really catered to shorter and taller riders with this bike with different seat options and the adjustability built in the suspension link. That is 2 thumbs up. Why don't more manufacturers do that? That's phenomenal, and it shows they care about riders of different heights. When you look at the price point of this bike, for $6,499, it's pretty crazy some of the features that it has. Now, I'm not saying that features make the bike. It's not a good bike just because it has cool features, but certainly doesn't hurt. Things like these mirrors that you can adjust, they fold in like this. I mean, that's fantastic. You've got an adjustable windshield right here. You've got a GPS bar. You've got the TFT dash. You've just got some really cool things. Like even the USB port has USB-A and USB-C. I've never seen that before. We talked about the adjustable suspension linkage. I mean, they really thought of some pretty cool features. Even the control levers are adjustable. I rarely see that on a bike at this price point. Important to note here, I have some CFMOTO factory accessories on this bike. They're all OEM accessories that the dealership installed. So there's some guards like on the brakes. I've got not aftermarket, OEM skid plate from CFMOTO, which looks pretty good. Lower crash bars. I've got upper crash bars. I think these hand protectors are stock, but I'll do all the details of the accessories in the next video. But I just want to tell you, it's not totally stock. I've got these off-road foot pegs. So they were very thoughtful in setting this bike up for me. I think they kind of know how I'm going to test it. Like there's some more guards here. I've got these soft bags. These are called the Enduro 40. They're actually made by Westwind Moto. It's pretty interesting. They're a Chinese luggage company. The other aftermarket stuff, so there's like this rear cargo rack here. What else? What other aftermarket things? Or not aftermarket, sorry. Accessories, OEM accessories. Talked about the foot pegs, the crash protection. The windshield is the stock windshield, and these are my own camera mounts and things like that. But yes, there's also a luggage, there's a little mounting plates under here that help support these soft bags. They're pretty cool actually, and we'll get into that in the future video. The tires are the stock tires, which are CST, so we'll see kind of how those perform. The suspension setup, we talked about that already. Some other really cool things, like I just can't believe, like you've got tubeless spoked wheels. Now, you know, you don't get that on a Transalp or a Tenere 700 that cost thousands more, yet CFMOTO was able to give you tubeless spoked rims. That's a really big achievement. There's just some really cool features on this bike. Like if you look at this, how that folds in, I really appreciate that. Look at how they did the exhaust. So not to pick on the Tenere 700, but that bike has an exhaust hanger that comes off the frame that is not removable, and the exhaust pushes in and bends in and hits the swing arm, and is a real problem whenever you ride off-road and fall down. This bike doesn't seem to have that issue. We'll test that, but the exhaust bolts onto this passenger peg, which is bolt-on to the subframe here, and the subframe's also removable bolt-on. I'm just seeing some really thoughtful design features here that is really, really surprising to see and good to see. All right, we're going to begin by going up this steep, twisty, paved mountain road. There's no traffic. We can ride spiritedly, right? And keep in mind, I'm at elevation. I'm at about 4,500 feet, or what is that, like 1,800 meters or something above sea level. That affects the performance negatively. And then we're going up the steep hill, so it's a steeper hill than it looks on camera, so keep that in mind. But let's test out the handling, the acceleration, the engine sound, get the feel of the bike. Then we'll do some acceleration and braking tests up here at the top. All right. This engine is such a gem because it is super smooth. You never feel vibration from this engine, and it sounds really, really nice. Just sounds absolutely lovely. Full power, come on. Cattle, great. Okay, full power. Full power. Okay, my initial impressions. The engine is incredibly smooth. It's nice to use. The handling is a bit slow on the steering, but I think that's okay. And I think that's going to translate to a really nice, stable feeling off-road, but we're about to find out here in a minute. The gear shift is super smooth, very Japanese Suzuki-like gear shifting, super slick and smooth. There's no quick shifter, obviously, but shifts really, really well. The wind protection is actually surprisingly good. I've got the windshield all the way up. It's not fast, it's kind of pokey, but it's fun to ride. Watch. I just got done filming the KTM 1290. I took it on this road. On the 1290, I was, no joke, going 110 miles an hour right here, which is way too fast, but come on, little bike. Actually, this is pretty good. Full power applied, full power applied. What I like about bikes like this is if you're a decent rider, you can use all the power of this. So it makes it very engaging to be able to use full throttle. If you use full throttle all the time like this on a big 1200, you're just going ridiculous speeds. So this is very nice. Now let's do 0 to 70 miles an hour to 0 performance testing here. $60, $70. That's pretty good. Let's do it again. Rev limiter there, it's easy to hit it. Third gear revs out, 68 miles an hour, okay, 70. Okay. Probably getting the brakes pretty hot at this point. Let's give those brakes time to cool down. Actually, so the braking performance is okay. It's not bad. The acceleration performance, well, you can see it. It's 43 horsepower. It's okay, but it's not gonna, it's not gonna move the earth or anything. But it's okay, and we're at high elevation. But the nice thing is, like, it's just such a pleasure to rev this thing out. It really, really is. A twin cylinder makes all the difference. Red line is 9,500. There's a fuel cut at 9,500. Fourth gear, I revved out at about 80. I hit the refuel cut. Now going downhill is a little bit more sketchy because we really rely on our brakes to give us confidence as we shoot into these corners. Plus, this is a pretty bumpy road as well. But I feel pretty confident. It's a balanced package. I feel like the engine and the brakes and everything are
are well matched to each other. And I feel confident to ride it pretty quick. I mean, there was 88 miles an hour. We'll take it on the freeway, but yes, the bike does rev high in top gear. The gearing is short, and that's because with a small displacement engine, they really need that gearing advantage to give you any acceleration. So that is something that people are concerned about. Does it rev too high? You know, going 80, it does rev high, but it seems like it'll be okay. There's absolutely no vibration, but we'll have to take it on the freeway to really test that. You can see it's 7,200 RPM. 75 miles an hour is about just over 7,000 RPM. So it does rev pretty high, and it does feel pretty busy, but it doesn't have any vibration. It's remarkably smooth. Let's go downhill here and see. Yeah, 80, so 80 miles an hour is almost 8,000 RPM. No, so 80 is like 7,500 to 7,800 RPM, but I would say 80 it feels pretty okay. 75 feels okay, but we'll have to test that out later. But yeah, it is geared pretty low. If you spend a lot of time at those really high speeds, then you're gonna have to factor that in. All right, off-road test, first impressions off-road, really to test the suspension and handling, things like that. Turn my windshield down here. Why don't all bikes have this? I'm a little concerned that the GPS bar moves with the windshield. I've never seen that, because won't your GPS then hit this when you, I don't know. We'll have to see how that is. But I really love having the adjustable windshield, and you can do it while riding one hand, and it kind of locks into place. Fantastic feature. I'm really impressed with this bike so far. For the money, I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it. Okay, so for off-road, I guess I researched, I read the manual on this, so I know how it works. Like, if I hold this down, a little thing comes up that says off-road, and that actually turns off the traction control. It does have rudimentary traction control, and it turns off the rear wheel ABS. In the menu, you'll see RW ABS. That means rear wheel ABS. So we turn that off, and we turn off our traction control. We're just going to kind of send it and see how we go. Okay, getting into the rough stuff now. Pretty impressed so far. It's the suspension is pretty firm. It's on the firm side of things. Oh, big rock there. Yep. Suspension is definitely on the firm side, but we have adjustments we can make. We'll play with the adjustments as we get further into the test. But I mean, I'm going 40 miles an hour through rocks and ruts, so it can't be that bad. You know what? The the throttle jerkiness, I haven't noticed that yet. Let me see if I can notice it. I'm not really noticing. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not feeling it so much. Maybe a little bit right off of that zero throttle, but maybe the throttle slack adjustment that I did, maybe that helped. I don't know. Let's hit this stuff. No, that's good. I didn't bottom out. Come on, little bike. Show me what you got here. This is a big one. Oh, okay. I bottomed the rear out on that. Another big one. Come on. Nope. Nope. It took that one. Okay, this is a big one. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was standing up. I bottomed out the back. But that's expected. I bottom all the adventure bikes on that one right there. I test all the ADVs on this trail. This is good for the bike to break in, to get the suspension broken in. And we're definitely breaking in the motor. What do you think? Whoa. I'm actually really impressed. I can haul butt on this thing pretty good. It's not the smoothest ride, but let's feel a suspension. Yeah, I need to play with the clickers there, especially in the back. The weight balance, does it feel lighter? It's smaller than a Tenere 700. Yes, for sure. Also, the seat height is super low. I think that's going to give people a lot of confidence. Let's do this. Let's just do a little bit of testing here. Let's see how far I can drop it to there. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I don't know that it feels lighter than my Tuareg. Well, let's just do this right now. I know that's not really a crash, but at least it's a drop test of some kind. Let's take a look under here. This factory accessory skid plate looks pretty good. You can see your adjustable suspension there now. Pretty amazing package they put together here for $6,500. Let's lift her up and see how we go. That's not bad at all. And keep in mind, my bike has luggage, all these crash bars, a skid plate, a bunch of accessories that add weight. That wasn't bad at all. Not too bad. I'll tell you what we'll do. I brought a screwdriver because I knew this was going to happen. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to adjust my clickers a little bit. Now the rear shock, the rebound, I feel like I want to speed up the rebound. So here you can see that preload collar that I played with earlier to set the sag. I'm glad I did that. The rebound is down here. You can't really see it, and you're going to burn. You could easily burn yourself on the exhaust. I'm going to turn this. I'm going to speed up the rebound. I'm going to take it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Sped up the rebound. I just feel like it might track the ground better on the front. So I've got where it says tension, or T-E-N, that's rebound. And then over here it says comp, that's compression. So let's speed up the rebound on the front. Let's go 1, 2, 3. And the compression, suspension sometimes works the opposite way you would think. Sometimes adding compression actually makes it ride better. I have a gut feeling. I don't know, maybe let's add compression. You would think remove it to make it ride softer, but I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. We'll try that. We can always reverse it. I did 3 clicks and 4 on the back, so we can go the other direction, but this is the first ride. We're getting kind of into the weeds here, I think. Yeah, riding it around here, it does give you a lot of confidence to kind of maneuver and play with, because it definitely feels like maybe a half size smaller than like a T7 or even a Tuareg or definitely like an 890 or a Tiger 900 or an Africa Twin. It feels much more smaller and lighter than that because it's pretty low to the ground. That helps a lot. You know what? You know what? That might have helped. Those adjustments I just made, that might have helped. I still got to play with it more, but I mean, let's also pause for a second to consider that. Yeah, I think it feels good to consider that this bike has adjustable suspension. A Honda Transalp costs $10,000. It doesn't even have adjustable suspension. This definitely has way better suspension than a Transalp does. It's kind of similar to the Tenere 700 in my opinion in terms of the suspension performance. Actually, I gotta say, overall, this thing feels pretty dialed. Pretty darn dialed. What I really like... I'm fogging up here. What I really like is they didn't go the super soft route on the springs, so you can actually ride it with a bit of aggression, and it doesn't, you know, float all over the place like a lot of bikes do, like V-Strom, Transalp. I'm looking at you guys. So actually, it feels like you could throw it through stuff pretty hard. I'm pretty damn impressed. Pretty damn impressed. God damn, dude. This thing is so legit. Like, I'm not riding slow. This is really rough. KYB suspension for the win. Damn, good job, CFMOTO. Sandy riverbed. Look at this delicious sand. It's actually a little bit moist, so that'll help. So this is a good part of the test because I would never take my 1250 GS Adventure down this ravine and into this deep sand wash. I would never do it. I mean, maybe I would, like, if I had to, but I wouldn't choose to do it. But with these smaller adventure bikes, they're just that a little bit more, you know, manageable, and I'm willing to do it. It's still not a dirt bike, and a lot of people miss the point of these adventure bikes. Well, it's too heavy and that. It's not trying to be a dirt bike. Like, dude, it's meant to also travel on the freeway, on the highway, go on trips, but still be able to go and stuff like this. So let's pop this down this, which should be fun and interesting. I have no idea how these tires are going to do in the sand. I don't even know that I'm not going to get buried and stuck. But I think we'll be okay. So let's go ahead and do it and see how she handles. I actually don't remember what is the suspension rake angle on this bike, because that will affect the stability in the sand. I'll put that up here on the screen. I don't actually know, but I feel like it's pretty relaxed because of the way that it feels on the highway. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Okay, lots of revs. Lots and lots of revs. Keep this thing spinning. Yeah, about 25 miles an hour at the top of first gear. Actually, so far, I feel okay. Like, I don't feel like I have a ton of traction, but the bike feels really manageable and pretty stable. I mean, this sand is deep. This is a riverbed. Let's get up the second gear. Whoa! Oh. You! There's the top of second gear. The top of second gear. Yeah, this is actually fun. It's not too scary on this bike. Woo! Surfing the sand, baby! Yoo-hoo! This is totally manageable, and imagine how good it would be with a really good set of off-road tires, you know? Oh, this is really soft. Let me get up here to turn around. I don't want to get stuck. Okay. Second gear seems to be the trick. You really shouldn't sit down, but let's try it. I mean, it feels really, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, I say that, but relatively it feels pretty good in the sand compared to all the other adventure bikes I've taken out here. Wonder if we can go back the way we came and get up that kind of cliff or hill thing. But the bike is manageable. It's manageable. Let's try to ride up this. Come on. Oh, that was fun. What a smashingly good little bike. Gosh darn. Alright, believe it or not, this is like an actual trail. It's a dirt bike trail though. It's not, I've never taken an adventure bike on this. I'm a little bit unsure how that's going to go. But people have said the low speed throttle, jerkiness, and you know, is the bike really more capable because it's smaller and lighter? So we really have to start testing this. So let's go up this dirt bike trail and kind of see what happens. It's super narrow and tight and super slow speed. So if there's issues with the fuel mapping, I guess we're really going to find out right now. The clutch has a very, very light feels fine so far, but I'm just kind of going slow. This is what I call the foot peg cruncher right here, these rocks. I mean, I have installed it. I don't feel the jerkiness. The lightweight clutch makes this a lot easier. Bike is pretty well balanced. Oh, starting to feel the limitations of these tires and this sandy stuff. Oh, that's very narrow. Through those rocks right there. Duck under this tree here. Actually, I'm really impressed. Didn't expect it to be this easy. But this is very, very doable. Very doable. A bike just feels maneuverable and small for an adventure bike. I don't think you're going to win any dirt bike races on it, but I think you can go to a lot of places that, ooh, that's a big boulder there, that you wouldn't expect. Folding mirrors come in handy for that. I want to take a picture here. Alright, the average person would not be dumb enough to go on this kind of trail with an adventure bike, but I'm dumb, so let's do this. It helps to be in gear. Whoa! Whoa. You know what? This thing is just a big dirt bike. You! That's crazy, dude. Like that wasn't even hard. Like this thing is such a confidence booster because it just doesn't feel that big. It really does ride like a smaller bike than it is. Man, I'm just so impressed with this thing. I'm getting used to the ergonomics. It actually feels a lot better. Oh. Dude, I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away by this thing. It's like, is there anything it can't do? Seriously.
Dear Diary, today I rode a really fun motorcycle, but so it's not often that I'm kind of left speechless in a review like this. I'm not speechless because the bike is crazy high performance or unbelievably fun or anything like that, because it's not, but I'm just thinking about value, right? This bike, as you just saw, and I know this is still really early, but it seems to do all the things, like all the things that most people want, although there are some question marks in certain areas. And it's $64.99. I mean, that's nuts. Like, if you look at the overall package, the features, the components, and the performance and the functionality and all different kinds of riding, when you look at that whole package together, this is nuts. I mean, this is ridiculously crazy value. It might be the best value adventure bike that we've ever seen. Like, if you really look at it, it might even be the best value in a motorcycle, period, that I've ever seen. Now, how did they do that? What's the catch? Well, obviously, it's because it's a Chinese company and it's manufactured in China. Now, people have a lot of different thoughts about that. And just be respectful in the comments, you know, be intelligent. That's what I would say. And whether you're okay with Chinese motorcycles or not, that's a personal thing, and I can't decide that for you. It's neither right or wrong, but it's a personal choice you have to weigh for yourself. It might bother you, it might not. Why haven't, you know, Honda or Yamaha or Kawasaki or some other company made something like this, like a 450 twin-cylinder affordable adventure bike? Well, I think I know exactly why they haven't done it, because it would cannibalize the sales of their more expensive models, right? So why would Honda build something like this if they want to sell Transalps and Africa Twins, which are going to have a higher profit margin and fit into their business strategy? So I don't blame like the Japanese manufacturers for not doing this. I understand their hesitation and why we really haven't seen bikes like this, although we are starting to see more, right? Like the Himalayan 450 we've got, that's a single cylinder though. KTM's bringing out the new 390s, which look super legit, super promising. So we're starting to see it. Now BMW's doing the 450 GS, which looks on paper to be freaking amazing. Like it could be a real challenger to this. So we're starting to see it, but I think that's why we haven't seen it before. And I think the advantage that CFMOTO has right now is they're kind of first on the scene with this. They kind of said, you know what, F it. We're gonna do this even though the other manufacturers aren't. We're gonna steal their lunch. We're gonna eat their lunch. We're gonna get all those sales before they do. And you know what? CFMOTO's pretty much done it. I think there are some unknowns, you know, with this machine that, and some of these I probably can't even answer in the couple months I have the bike. Some of these are more long-term questions. You know, the reliability, you guys are asking about that, parts and dealers and stuff, which I think is actually okay for CFMOTO, but we'll get into that later when we look at the dealer network and stuff like that. So there's questions there, and we don't know. We don't know reliability. It's too early. How could we possibly know that? We don't know. This engine has been in other CFMOTOs for, I guess, 2 or 3 years. I haven't heard of any issues with the engine, but in terms of the rest of the package, you know, I have no idea. And only time is going to tell us about that. You know, a lot of you've asked about comparisons, and I'm doing the video on the Q&A, and I'll get more detailed about this, but like, okay, compared to a Tenere 700, this is kind of a smaller version of a Tenere 700 or a Tuareg 660 or something like that. I think that's a good way to think of it. You know, you're looking at around 40 horsepower compared to, you know, the Tenere has 72, the Tuareg has 80. It's not a fair comparison, and those bikes cost almost double what this does. So that's not a fair comparison, but since a lot of you are looking at that decision, like, is this better off-road than a Tenere 700? Okay, it's not more capable. I wouldn't say it's more capable off-road, but it's easier to ride and more confidence-inspiring because it's lower, it's less top-heavy, and you're more inclined to take on those challenging trails than you would with a Tenere 700, or maybe even my own Tuareg 660 that I've got in the garage. So there's something to be said. Even though on paper it's not a huge amount lighter, it feels more than that, and I think the low center of gravity and the lower seat height make it more confidence inspiring than you would think. So it's not a better off-road bike in the hands of a pro rider, no, but it might be more confidence inspiring and easy to ride for the average person, and that's a big deal. In terms of highway performance, is it as good as the bigger bikes? No, but it can go 90 plus miles an hour and it's fairly smooth, although it revs high. So at the end of the day, this is half the price. A Tuareg is around 13,000 bucks. This is 6,500. This is half the price. You could buy two of these for one Tuareg. Is the Tuareg twice as good? It's impossible to quantify that. Probably not really, but I don't know. I think this thing represents a killer value. What about compared to like a Transalp? So compared to a Honda Transalp, I mean, this 10 grand, Transalp is a way better road bike and touring bike than this. A lot more power, of course, and all that. Off-road, I gotta tell you, off-road, this is better. This is better than a Transalp off-road for sure. Suspension and ground clearance is much better. Himalayan 450, yeah, that's a tough comparison. This feels like a more modern, more refined, smoother bike, smoother engine, more wind protection, better on the highway. You've got adjustable suspension here. The suspension on the Himalayan is good, but this I would say is as good as that. And this has adjustability, which the Himalayan doesn't. I mean, it's a tough one, but just to be honest with you, this, I think this is a nicer bike than the Himalayan 450, just being honest, in most respects. Now, off-road, they're both very good. I don't know that I have a verdict on that yet, comparing them off-road, but they feel pretty close in that regard. What about the new 390 Adventures that are coming out from KTM? You know, they've got the Enduro, they've got the Adventure R. The 390 Adventure R, the new one that's coming out, that is a legit looking bike. That could be finally the bike that sort of steals the crown from this. I feel like we had the Himalayan 450. That was kind of like the best small bike for a while. Now this is kind of taking that over. And then I think the 390 Adventure R potentially could be a real good challenger to this, but we'll have to wait and see. But if you look at that bike on paper, it's lighter, has more suspension travel, it's got comparable features and power. So that's gonna be a close one. So I think this bike is a game changer. I really do. Not because of the performance, because it's not a game changer with performance, but because, like I said earlier, they're the first ones to the scene with a small 400 to 500 twin cylinder, legitimately capable adventure bike for an amazing price. No one else has done it yet. CFMOTO did. And I think that's why it's a game changer, because of the value and what you get for the money. It's pretty amazing. All right, so stay tuned for the rest of the series. The in-depth review will cover all the normal stuff I usually cover. That'll be good. And then I'll do a Q&A video. We'll do a trip video, and then we'll do some kind of comparison video, maybe with my Tuareg, or we'll try to get the new Tenere 700. We'll do something like that to kind of see if it's worth paying the extra money. So let me know what you want to see out of this series. I hope this video was entertaining and informative. Questions, put that down below. Other than that, those two favors I asked of you, please subscribe, please use my links when you're shopping. Beyond that, ride safe. I will see you out there.